Hey Bliss fans, here's the promised live. What I want to talk about today is the authentic networker and what's the big deal. What is the authentic networker and what's the big deal about it? And why are Kimmy and I so passionate about teaching it and promoting it and coaching it? Well, it boils down to this. You know, we've been doing network marketing around the world for 70 years. And if you go survey people like Super MLM Man has, you know, what do you find out? What do you find out about what people know about network marketing? If you ask them to explain it, if you ask them to list companies that are network marketing companies, what companies are they going to list? You know, Starbucks, Nordstrom's, AT&T, Woolies, you know, they're going to name companies that don't have anything to do with network marketing. And if you say, well, name some MLM companies, you know, every once in a while, you know, maybe 1 out of 10 or 15 people will know what MLM means. But could they explain it? Could they explain the business model, how it works? Could they explain it with admiration? That'd be a no. You even ask people what direct sales is. They don't know. They think, you know, anybody who's selling anything to anybody is direct selling. You ask people what a pyramid scheme is. Well, some people don't know, right? But a lot of people do know or think they know what a pyramid scheme is. And guess what kind of companies they're going to name when they say pyramid scheme? They're going to name network marketing companies. So what the authentic networker is all about, and you know, I'm not saying it's going to happen in a year or 4 years or 7 years. I'm just saying that we're two people, and there's a lot of other people out there. You know, people like Eric Worre and Todd Falcone and Tom Chenault and you know, Sonia Stringer and, you know, just a host of other like-minded, Mark Januski, you know, like-minded people that are teaching people to be honorable, to teaching people to be authentic, teaching people to be honest and transparent when it comes to representing this phenomenal profession. So what the authentic networker is about is a movement. It's a movement to change the way networkers network and the way they market. The two things that we are, networkers and marketers. Let's change the way we do it. So, you know, one of the things that the authentic networker is about is actually doing the work. You know, you probably have heard 95% of the people that embark on the journey of building an asset income in network marketing, building a team, wanting, you know, some income that's beyond what they might just produce themselves, they end up giving up, flaming out, getting frustrated, lose it. Their company goes out of business because they didn't know what company to pick, or they go out of business because they don't know how to get their head right around doing the work. And they don't do the work. So one of the things the authentic networker is simply doing the work. And what we prove in the concepts that we teach people is you and I already know how to do the work. Could we do it better? Of course. Skills are important. You know, the better you are at something, the less you have to do of it to get the same result. But even in our archaic self, even without any skills, without any practice, without any training, we can do it. We can do the work. Now, I've surveyed thousands and thousands of people that make great money in network marketing, have built fantastic asset incomes. And one of the things I ask them is, you know, how are you enrolled? What did your sponsors say to you that was so phenomenal, that had you take a look, that had you have all the lights come on and get it? And you listen to these hundreds of different approaches, hundreds of different things the sponsors said. And one of the things you learn from that is all the people who are super successful in networking now, they were all brought in wrong in terms of skills of the sponsor. You know, they were brought in, you know, using approaches like, you know, I'd really love it if you'd take a look at my business. Well, yeah, I guess you would. If that's all about you, what about me? Right? Or, hey, you just have to do this. You know, you should get rid of that job, just over broke job, and you should drive the kind of car I'm coming, and you should drive, and you should come to the meeting, and we're going to get rich. And really? Is that what anybody would teach today? So the point is, most of the people, I'll bet like 95 to 99% of the people that are crushing it in network marketing today were brought in wrong. What does that mean? It means they were brought in by people that didn't know what they were doing, didn't have the skills. What did they have? They had the motivation to do the work. So, you know, 95% of us aren't doing the work. we're doing some of it, right? We do a little of it. We do it today, and then if somebody says yes today, then we're excited about doing it tomorrow. But if somebody says no tomorrow, then we're not excited about doing it the next day, and then we miss another day, and then we miss another day, and then we feel out of integrity, and then we start a conversation about, oh, this isn't working, I can't do this, nobody wants to do this. And in 3 weeks, we're out, right? And so the people that crush it, they just do the work. They do the work every day, and it's not because they're excellent at their skills. It's because they're excellent at their motive, like their vision. It's like if you watched my personal Facebook Live earlier this morning, the lesson of the legend of the bush turkey. We have this bush turkey, which is some kind of prehistoric, ugly bird that's, like protected here in Australia. And this bush turkey, every day of its life, goes and grabs all the leaves and dirt out of the flower bed and builds this path across the street here in our subdivision, in our little housing community. And I'm not sure why he builds this little path across the street, maybe because his feet get hot on the pavement, but every day he builds this path, and every day the landscaper takes the weed blower and blows all the work off the path, and the bush turkey has to start over again. But to the bush turkey, the work is worth it, right? For whatever reason, I don't know. If I was, enrolling the bush turkey, I'd say, okay, why are you building this path? What's so important to you? Why is that important to you? How's that going to make your life different? What are you willing to do, to get that in your life? Maybe it's cool feet, right? He wants cool feet, and I'm going to ask him, well, why is that so important to you? And what are you willing to give up to get cool feet? It takes this bush turkey like 2 hours to build the path every day. So the question is, what are you willing to do for your dream? And that's part of what the Authentic Networker is about, is motivating people, giving people the mindset for doing the work, because we already know that they can do the work. It's just like coaching them through what's it going to take for you to actually step up and do the work. And the other piece of the Authentic Networker is how we do the work in such a way that the people that shape our reputation as a profession start to embrace us, start to respect us, start to admire us, maybe start to understand us, as opposed to this 70-year-old reputation where people don't understand what we do, and to the degree they think they understand what we do, they don't like it and they don't want to do it, which makes recruiting people challenging, right? Imagine, this is my vision for the future. I trust it's not going to take 70 years to get there. But if it does, that's okay. I'll be like 135 years old, and I'll be still getting it done, right? Because we all take good nutrition because we're network marketers. And so, my vision is when somebody goes out to, talk to somebody about their network marketing company, instead of the prospect going, oh, you mean like that company, you mean like that company, whatever company they think they're talking about, which of course they're going to not like, and they're not going to like the model, and they're going to have that scrunched up look on their face, and they're going to have horror stories about that company. So instead of saying that, they say, oh, you mean like, and maybe your company, right? Maybe the company you're representing. And I could list off, 50 great companies in this profession, or maybe at least 20 great companies in this profession. And so the prospect 10 years from now, 20 years from now, they understand the model. They understand it just like they understand franchising. You don't have to own a franchise or have gone to franchising school to understand how a franchise works, right? You go ask 100 people, how does a franchise work? Most people probably understand the basics of it. What if 5 years from now, most people understood the basic mechanics of how network marketing worked? They actually understood it. They didn't get it totally wrong. Like if I asked, name, half a dozen franchises, people would probably get most of it right. So if I asked somebody 5 years from now, name, half a dozen network marketing companies, what if somebody got it right? Like they could name them, they could actually name them. Can you imagine how much easier it would be to cast a vision and enroll people in your company? And what about this? What about the last 4, 5, 6 times that they were approached with somebody's opportunity, and instead of being approached with hype and manipulation and deception and bullying and being made wrong about what they did for a living and how much money they made, instead of all of that nonsense, that foolishness, that amateur hour, what if the last 4 or 5 times they'd been approached, they actually enjoyed the conversation? They found the conversation enlightening, inspiring, educational, most importantly, honoring. What if everybody that you and I approached from this point on had already talked to 4 or 5 people about network marketing? Perhaps they said no, but the conversation left them in a better place, left them whole. Like Mary Kay said, people don't remember what you say, but they do remember how you made them feel. What if the last 4 or 5 times they talked to a network marketer, the way they felt was good, and they actually learned more about the model? Imagine that was everybody you and I prospected from this point on. That's who we were talking to, somebody that understood our model and actually felt good about the last 4 or 5 conversations they'd been in with a network marketer. Instead of us maybe, enrolling 1 out of 5 or 1 out of 10, we'd probably be enrolling every other person we talked to, which means going back to the first problem that we have as a profession is 95% of the people don't do the work. What if 95% of the people did the work? What if 95% of the people actually went out and did the work every day, compounded their invites, compounded their presentations, compounded their enrollments, such that, after 3 weeks, they had a couple of people that were on fire, and after 3 months, they're making $1,000 or $1,500 a month. Imagine how exciting this business would be then. So this is what we teach in the Authentic Networker. We teach that authentically, you already know how to do the work. The problem is not training, it's not knowledge, it's not skills. Although those are important and you're going to learn a lot and you're going to sharpen your axe, that's not what's keeping you from being successful. What's keeping you from being successful is you don't believe the work is worth it. You already know how to do the work. You can do the work. You have the time. You know the people. You can even figure out what to say. You're just not motivated to do it. You have doubt. You have a conversation that, what if it doesn't work? What if I do the work and I don't get paid? I'm not sure how I'm going to get paid, right? You look at the compensation plan, you're more confused than the day you enrolled, right? So part of the Authentic Networker is in convincing people that they authentically already know how to do this, and they actually authentically already have a good enough reason to do it. And it's not to get rid of their JOB. The best way to do this business is keep your JOB. You make $5,000 a month in network marketing, you're a rock star. You're 1 out of 1,000 or less or more, 1 out of more, right? But you make $5,000 a month full-time because you quit your JOB because you want to be a full-time networker, you're broke like everybody else. But if you keep your job, you keep your career, you keep your lifestyle based on your career, and you make $5,000 a month in network marketing part-time, you're 10 foot tall and bulletproof. You're investing like a multimillionaire. You're buying commercial real estate, rental real estate. You're investing in the equities. In 7, 8, 9, 10 years, you're a cash millionaire. Why? Because you're not spending that $5,000 a month, you're investing it. So authentically, what we know is you already know how to do that. You just got to get motivated to do it. You got to get clear about your reasons. And we help you do that in the Authentic Networker. And then we teach you how to authentically go out and represent this profession. What does that mean? Well, it means a lot of things. We're going to teach it September 8th in a virtual Authentic Networker workshop for 3 hours. We're going to teach you how to connect with people authentically. And there are ways to do that. There are visions that you can have in your head. You might call them skills. I don't really call them skills so much as just visions. I say we already know how to do this. We just need clarity on it's okay to do it. Not that we need the skills to do it. It's just okay to do it. One of the things that we hammer on in the Authentic Networker is to trust. Trust over any other strategy. Trust it over creating a spin. Trust it over a marketing message. Trust it over manipulating people. Trust it over trying to be, coy and curious with people, like secretive, or, oh, gee, I'm in such a hurry. I'd love to tell you about it, but, oh, gee, you got lots of appointments. Oh, I'm running here, running there. That kind of manipulation. That's what people hate about our profession. Or somebody asks you, well, what is it? And you say, oh, that's what the presentation's about. I couldn't do it justice. Oh, what is it? Well, that's what the presentation's about. Oh, really? So you can't just tell me what it is, right? No, real busy. That's what the presentation's about. People hate that stuff. They know what's going on there. They're not. People aren't stupid. They realize what's going on is you don't want to tell them what it is. You don't want to tell them it is because you're not proud of it. You don't own it. You're not a stand for network marketing. You're a stand for manipulation. you're a stand for trying to sell somebody on doing something they don't want to do. You know, what's the point of selling somebody on network marketing if the truth is, once they understand network marketing, they don't want to do it? What good is that to sell people on doing something they don't want to do? It doesn't do any good at all. They just quit, right? And then they're mad because you deceived them. You know, somebody asks you, what do you do? Well, if, you know, maybe you're a rocket scientist, but you're also a network marketer. Somebody asks you what you do, you're probably going to tell them you're a rocket scientist. But when it comes to network marketing, you probably have been taught to say something like, well, you know how when people have more month than they have money? Well, I show people how to have more money than they have month. And I'm like, hello, Kenneth Smoot. I'm like, what? What I wanted to know is, what do you do for a living? If I wanted a riddle, I'd have gone to the bookstore and bought a book of riddles. Tell me what you do for a living. Oh, I'm an emergency retirement specialist. What? Do I look like an idiot? And by the way, I asked you what you do for a living. Like, what do you do for work? What's your career? Well, you know how I help people do this. Yeah, okay, great, but what do you do for a living? So if you ask me what I do for a living, what do you want to know? You want a riddle? You want some cute little thing that some trainer taught me to put together because I'm embarrassed to be a network marketer and I don't want to explain it and I can't explain it? Is that what you want? I say if you ask me what I do for a living, you want to know what I do for a living, and you better be able to say it, explain it. Now here's how I do it. I'm not suggesting you do it this way. But people ask me what I do. I tell them I'm a network marketer. I know that they don't know what that means. I could say direct selling. I could say multi-level marketer. I could say I'm a pyramid schemer. I could say I'm a relationship marketer. I could say I'm a social selling, whatever person. I could say I'm in leverage sales. I choose network marketing because I'm part of a group of people that's pretty much what we've decided to call it. Could we call it something else? Yes. But here's what I know when I say network marketing. They don't have any idea what I'm talking about. So now I could try to explain it, right? So you go ahead. You try to explain it. Somebody asks you, what do you do for a living? I'm a network marketer. I don't know what that is. Oh, well, so it's like we have products that we really love, and so we, promote the products to other people, and then we provide an opportunity for promote the products, for other people to build financial freedom. Huh? What? I don't know what that is, right? So instead of me trying to explain it, which is never an explanation, I've been doing this 43 years full time. I've never seen anybody explain it accurately in less than like 3 paragraphs or 4 paragraphs. Which the prospect can't hang in there that long, not unless you got a yellow pad. You got a yellow pad and you scratch out maybe some diagrams, maybe they'll get it. Maybe the closest thing is to it, you know how you recommend a good movie or a restaurant? Well, I have a product I recommend, and the company I recommend it for pays me to recommend it. Except, oh gee, I forgot, I also get paid on everybody who I recruit to recommend it. And I also get paid, forgot that, I get paid on everybody they recruit to recommend it, and everybody they recruit, and everybody they recruit, and everybody they now we're talking about compounding, the 8th wonder of the world, and that's what Einstein called it anyway. And you know how the rich get richer and the poor get poorer, and it's 4, 16, 64, 256,024, like that. And it's global, by the way. It's not just local global. Huh? Right? So what I tell people when they ask me what I do is I say I'm a network marketer. I know they don't know what that means, so I immediately follow it with a list of companies. Like, that's like Nu Skin, Herbalife, Amway, Mary Kay, Arbonne, Rodan & Fields, doTERRA, Young Living, Juice Plus, Manitech, Shackley. I just keep rattling off companies until they go, okay, I know what you're talking about now. Now, you may think, oh my gosh, don't tell them it's network marketing. They're not going to like network marketing. Okay, let's track with that logic. Are your prospects going to sooner or later find out you're in network marketing? When are they going to find out? Are they going to find out in your first little ditty riddle? Are they going to find out in the presentation, or are you going to keep it a secret there too and call it something nobody's ever heard of? Are they going to find out when they actually enroll? Are they going to find out when they go to the first meeting? Are they going to find out when they join your Facebook page? Are they going to find out when they go to the first convention? When are they going to find out? You know what? Here's the authentic theme we're talking about. The longer it takes for them to find out, the more deceived they feel. I already know they don't like it, right? I already know they have a misconception. I want them to know right up front. This is what I do. You hate it? Awesome. Let's talk about it. I already know you hate it, right? I already know you don't want to talk to your friends. I already know you don't have any money. I already know you don't have any time. I get it. But the sooner I acknowledge that's what I'm doing, the more you trust me. And trust is the ultimate strategy. Why? Because they don't trust us, not as a profession. Why? We've been lying to them for 70 years. This is easy. You don't have to sell, right? All you have to do is share. So what do I do? Give everybody I know some of my product? Is that what you mean? So I buy some product and then what do I do? Like give part of my bottles of product to all of my friends? Is that what you mean by share? Well, you know, tell them about the product. And do I want them to buy it, or do I want them to ask me, can I borrow some of your product? Yeah, you want them to buy it. Oh, it sounds like selling to me, but you're calling it what? See why they don't trust us? They don't trust us because we're full of it. And we're full of it because we don't own the profession we're in. You know, we may have fallen in love with our product. We may have fallen in love with our people, the upline, the people that, encouraged us to join. We may have fallen in love with our company, but we haven't fallen in love with the business model. I wrote the 4-year career to support distributors, associates, sales leaders, not just prospects, but the people that are in. 95% of the people that are in companies today, they have the mentality of a prospect. They're not a distributor. They're just at best a customer. The only way you know whether the people on your team get network marketing, get your product, get your company, get your opportunity, and get network marketing is if they're recruiting. Just look at your report. Pull a report on everybody on your team. What percentage of them are recruiting? They don't have to recruit a lot, but can't be accidental, like somebody fell in every 3 or 4 or 5 months. I mean somebody that's recruiting once a month or at least one person every 2 months, kind of consistently. Run a report of what percentage of the people on your team are consistently recruiting. I'll promise you, unless you're a unicorn organization, you got maybe 5-10% at the most that are recruiting on a regular basis. Everybody else is thinking about it, wondering about it, hoping about it, worrying about it, trying about it. What's that all about? They don't own the business model. They don't believe in it. So the 4-year career is for 90% of the people on your team because they're just like a prospect. They think like a prospect. They act like a prospect, right? How does the prospect act? I don't know if I want to do this. I don't know if it's worth it. I don't know if I have time, right? I don't know if I know the right people. That's how a prospect acts. That's how 90% or 95% of the people in your team act. They're prospects. So, support them like a prospect. Instead of expecting, a fish to climb a tree, how about teach a fish how to be a lizard? I just made that up. That's pretty good, right? So how do you do that? Well, you give them a 4-year career. You give them maybe, Eric Worre's the video, what is it? I don't know, I'm in it. I should know what it is, but yeah. Hello, Mark Cohen. How are you, buddy? Hey, you're on the Tom Chenault show today. I probably missed it already. If I haven't, post right here, Mark, where people can go watch your interview on the Tom Chenault show. I'm sure that is epic. So anyway, you probably got a sense of what we're up to on the Authentic Marketer, Authentic Networker. We're about doing the work, not because we have the skills, but because we can. Rise of the entrepreneur. Yeah, thank you, Linda. And we're about doing the work in an honest, ethical, honorable way so that the marketplace understands what networking is about, and they actually have enjoyed the last few conversations they've been in, because the people who shape our reputation in the industry are not the people who are in it, but the people who say no. And the best prospects on the planet are the people who say no, because they've already experienced us. If we treat them right, if we communicate with them right, if we listen to them, if we're present to them, if we honor them, if we source them, if we feed them, if we're curious about them, if we're there for them, then their experience of a conversation with us is inspiring and empowering. And we just might end up being the most interesting person that they've ever met. And you want to make it easy to recruit people? Become the most interesting person they've ever met. Hey, if this sounds like something that will serve your team, serve our profession, my request is that you share it. Share it with your team. Share it with anybody that you think it will inspire, because guess what, folks? Most of us still, after 70 years, we're doing this business archaically. First of all, most of us aren't doing it. 95% of us are not doing the work. What does that create? That creates more roadkill, more, stinky statistics, more failure, more bad reputation. And it doesn't have to be that way. We all know how to do this. We're just not motivated to do it. So let's start doing the work, right? And then let's start doing the work in such a way that when we talk to people, they know a little bit more accurately about what we do. And that doesn't happen with riddles. It happens with telling people the truth, being a stand for what we do, being the kind of person that they trust and admire, and we've educated them some. Because our profession is worth it. It deserves that. We have, bar none, hands down, the best, most brilliant wealth building model on the planet. Unless you're starting with $1 million. This is the fastest, easiest, most potent way to become a millionaire. Because you don't have to pile up $1 million in network marketing to be a millionaire. All you got to do is pile up a team of maybe 5, 6, 7, 8, 900 people. People who are raving fans of your product. People who absolutely love network marketing. And guess what? You've built $1 million business. You can do that in 2, 3, 4, or 5 years. You can't do that in real estate or equities. We have the answer. And our answer deserves for us to treat it honorably, to be a stand for it, to not be embarrassed about it, to be strong, tell the truth, be an authentic networker.